My name's Andrew. I go by DrewPDrawers. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 3 years and have dabbled in a little bit of everything when it comes to the platform. I've always been open to people reaching out and helping others succeed, and I've enjoyed the entire road thus far.
Yeah, you are.
Shot him out of the air, boys! Let's get some hype in chat. How are you surprised, bro? I've never done this before.
Are you?
My name's Andrew. I go by DrewPDrawers. That's a name my father actually gave me when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. I've always been, one that needed a belt, and it's always like my pants were kind of drooping a little bit. And with my name being Andrew and the play on words, I've been known as DrewPDrawers ever since I was about 4 years old, as branded by my father. But I've been playing video games kind of competitively and not so much since basically the dawn of my time, and it's been a good role ever since. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 3 years and have dabbled in a little bit of everything when it comes to the platform, whether it comes to clicking on bad guys or running creative streams and tutorials on to help increase the production value of Twitch as an entirety. I feel like Twitch has a lot of saturation, and I just want to make sure that people are producing the best content that they can produce. So I've always been open to people reaching out and helping others succeed, and I've enjoyed the entire road thus far. I spend a lot of my time on Twitch, and I feel like if I'm going to spend countless hours, watching other streamers, I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time watching somebody who can't be the best they can be. Just making sure that I help people helps me in return, and it helps other people just have a better experience when they're on the platform, and I've been really proud of that. He loves it. Anytime that I come out with like a new t-shirt or stickers or anything like that, he's always the first one to ask for it so he can hang it up in his office. He's really excited that although he's grounded me from video games plenty of times, that it actually turned into something, and he gets to reap the benefits of the name. And anytime he comes into chat and everybody asks where I got the name, I can tell them it's him in chat right there. He gave me the name. It's a good time. He actually just, most of the time, if he's about to text me and it's late at night, ask me a question, he'll check to see if I'm streaming first, and then he'll ask me the question in chat. Nowadays, it's an interesting kind of thing. He's done it a couple times, or it's really funny just being like, wow, my dad's watching me right now. When I was growing up, one thing that actually made me feel like it was okay to watch other people play video games, I was never old enough or good enough when Tomb Raider came out on the PlayStation to get past the first level. So my brother and I would actually sit and watch my father beat all the Tomb Raiders, and it was one of my favorite things to do growing up, to just watch my father play video games. And it wasn't until Halo Combat Evolved came out that I was actually able to join and actually be better than my father. But it was amazing. During the time of Halo Combat Evolved, when you could system link Xboxes, my father would be right there playing video games after church on Sundays, linking with 100-foot Ethernet cords between houses in the neighborhood to go against the other neighbors and the kids. And it was interesting because it wasn't just the kids doing it. The kids' parents were also playing against us at the same time. And that's something my father was heavily involved in, but that's when I really got my start in gaming and truly get in the competitive feel, I believe in 1st or 2nd grade. It was an amazing experience to be even playing an M-rated game at 10, 11 years old, but to be playing it against all your neighbors and your family's friends and to be better than them was the best feeling of my life. And that's something I always chased. I've always had that competitive behavior from that moment. And he was the first one to set up GameSpy accounts so that we could do the faux Xbox Live with matchmaking across the world. And it was really cool to have my father as a part of that experience when I was younger, and to set that up and open the doors. Yeah, he was a pastor for most of my life, and we had some of the best moments playing Halo. The shouting that could be heard upstairs, or the distasteful grunts, in the living room. Around that first grade, second grade was when Halo came out, because I'm 25 now. But before then, that's really all my family could afford, was to get a game on PlayStation, and that was the entertainment at that point. And it really just fit in really well with the fact that my dad always loved games. He built his first computer and had to code his first games. Apparently, my father actually had to code a game on his first computer, but had to go to the library, memorize lines of codes, run to his house, type it in the computer, go to the library again, write down some more lines of code or memorize a few more, and then go back to his house until the game was finally finished. So my dad always loved games, but he doesn't play too much anymore. But yeah, he always grew up with the games, and he always had his passion, and he instilled it in my brother and I, and it's a good time. I never really tried to go to too many tournaments, it just wasn't something I realized was a realistic approach. Competing, I might win a couple of free games by beating a couple of the neighborhood guys over at a GameStop if they were holding a listing competition. But there was one competition in Knoxville. It was a battle of the bands, kind of a really big Scion sponsored, the year Scion came out. There's a really big tournament there that we placed amazingly well in. But still, I never caught the bug, and was never old enough technically to be competing when Halo 2 was out. So I just stuck to Xbox Live, and by the time Halo 5 came out, I wish the game was as promising as it said it would be. But the highest I ever got in the competitive world was reaching #1 for free-for-all ranking on launch day, but stopped playing. And I went back to games like Counter-Strike, and it's a whole other story. With Counter-Strike, man, that poor game. I enjoyed keyboard and mouse as soon as I got my computer. Basically, when I first started streaming, I streamed from a console, and I was playing Halo. Somebody told me, hey, if you like the competitive aspect of Halo, but you actually want to feel like you're doing something, play Counter-Strike with me. This has been one of my moderators for about for 3 years now. I've known him on Twitch for 3 years. His name's Condone Chaos. He was there when I was probably, I don't know, 2-3 weeks into streaming, and I was playing Halo, and he found me. But he was big into Counter-Strike, and he was really good at it. And he's like, if you want to learn a game and you want to learn how to be really good at it, and you want to be able to really have your aiming mechanics down on every game you play afterwards, play Counter-Strike. I got hooked, and that game has I've streamed 600 hours of it, but I probably have about 2,000 hours in it by now. And it's just so much fun. I don't have any other game where I get the adrenaline if it's just me, myself, and I against a team of 5, and somebody screaming in my ear to tell me where the next person is, and as fast as I can move my hand is as fast as I can shoot somebody. I love that. I love there's no aim assist. I love that it's not like a hitbox registration. I love that the game is as good as your hand is, and I've always appreciated that. But in terms of the game and being competitive in it, I just have fun with it. I love being able to just run around with a pistol, and that's mainly how I spend my time. I play a lot just strictly with the Deagle, and everybody hates me for it. Everybody, with the economy state of Counter-Strike, everybody wants you to be able to save to buy bigger weapons. And everybody looks at me and they're like, oh God, Drew just bought a deagle again. And I say, yes, I have a deagle. And it's so much fun for me to just like, it's more like, I don't care about my rank. I just care about getting in, getting out, getting a good clip in there, and just proving some of the people wrong that like, yeah, I have a deagle and I'll get just as many kills as you running around. And that's what makes Counter-Strike fun for me. It's just the community is very toxic, and to be able to just go back and forth with that toxic community with the deagle is a good time. Sometimes I might warm up with like in Counter-Strike there's bot maps and you can just run around and click on heads. But typically I love playing the games. I don't have a lot of time to play video games outside of streaming anymore, so I just like to jump right into it, whether it's Fortnite or Overwatch or anything like that. I just get right into it and have a good time. It's I mean, that's why I stream, is literally just, you know, sometimes I let the gameplay lapse and I'm there to hang out with the community, hang out with chat, and hang out with just about anybody who's willing to hang out. Everything about it is really just so I can meet new people and network and just interact with the people. The people are there for you, and I feel like I want to be there for them. So yeah, if I let the game lapse, I'm going to talk to the community. I'm not going to, you know, worry about being the next big Shroud or anything like that. That's already been done. There's already a Shroud. I believe Twitch can be separated into a bunch of like subcategories and what it takes to be successful on Twitch and to gain a viewership and to have the viewership enjoy what you're putting out. Something I've always harped on when it comes to being a content creator, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or anything, you either need to be, especially for Twitch, you need to be in the top 1% of the game you play, where people want to sit. They don't care what you say. You don't have to say anything. They just want to watch because they want to learn. They want to be better. They want to be, you know, staying on top. They want the competitive edge. But Twitch also has the areas where I think you need to be different. You need to you need to offer something that somebody else isn't offering. So whether it's offering a different take or a different personality, some people do that as combining like a loving community and a safe place for people. Some people do it by just making friends with everybody and just putting on entertainment value that isn't necessarily just full throttle action the entire time. When it comes to being different, that could be anything from doing creative streams or just offering a different level of quality for your stream, which is something I love doing. But there's one thing with Twitch and YouTube, is that there's so many people in the world that these platforms are becoming saturated, and you need to find a way to stand out, and just either be entertaining, be really good, or be really attractive, and that's completely fine. There's just 3 things that really bring everything together, and that's how you gain your audience. With what I've done with OBS, it's kind of been an evolving beast. In the beginning, I started on a MacBook back in 2015, when I first was able to use a capture card on the Xbox. Did my first stream with an Xbox Connect. Hated it. I rewatched all my VODs. I at least watch an hour of my VODs, which would be my archived broadcast, just watching me. Because something I came into Twitch with is, well, anything that you want to do. If you can't enjoy your own content, most likely somebody else won't. So when I saw myself just sitting on a couch playing Destiny, thinking I'm hilarious in a party chat, that didn't cut it. So I bought a capture card and went on my Mac. I assessed the quality after about 2 months of streaming on there. First night I was on the MacBook, I was so happy with what I made. It's really terrible to look at now, and I hope nobody ever finds that channel, because the way that it grew, that beast was terrible in the beginning. So I bought a PC and I just went to town on OBS, knowing I wasn't the best. I'm not the most attractive person in the world. I don't have the best skill. I'm not number one in any game besides Halo, which I didn't want to play. And so I went and I was like, I'm gonna break OBS and see what I can create. And from about 2 weeks after I got my PC, I was able to start producing effects and transitions and things that I don't believe anybody else has thought of before. It's just about everywhere now. After the kind of spiderweb effect of creating that tutorial video. But it's also something that isn't just what I do on OBS. It's been a good run, and it's crazy to see the difference from when I first started and from where I'm at now. But it's all about just coming up with new things, always staying on top, because it's like fireworks. It can be really cool for the first 30 minutes that you watch it, but do you really want to sit there and watch the same fireworks show for 5 hours? So one thing about watching your own content is realizing you can be at the top, but any good story has, the summits, the valleys. It has plot development. I feel like production quality needs to have the same thing. You can't just be, 100% hype doing weird effects the entire time. You have to find a way to engage on multiple levels. The first time that I realized that you could do more than just recording gameplay and slapping your webcam on the feed, I was watching a streamer called Tiger Rider. Awesome streamer, very, very authentic as a human being. And he would transition through GIFs and have them on his screen and just click on them and enable them and disable them with the beat of the song, making it look like everything was timed perfectly, kind of like an EQ visualizer. And I was like, Twitch isn't just about entertaining with your gameplay and your voice now. There's a whole other level. And 2 weeks after that, I just went deep into OBS and I stumbled across everything they were glitches. They weren't supposed to happen in any way, shape, or form. And I kind of just went with them, and initially I was like, wow, this would look really cool if I could do this. And it was just idea built on top of idea on top of idea. And I've broken OBS a couple times where I couldn't even get it to launch anymore. And that was hard. The own settings, everything's built right in. So just finding ways to, just like in gameplay, in Halo 2 where there's a super bounce, that's built into the game. You can exploit it. There's no extra code, but it's almost like cheating. It's the same thing with OBS. I found my super bounce, and I went with it. It's definitely not that I'm bad, but I never had the desire to be the very best. And I really I honed in on that, just making sure that when I'm playing a computer game, I can have my left hand on the WASD and my right hand on the mouse. If I'm playing Counter-Strike and I've got 2 minutes in between a round, if I die first, because I'm not the best, I might die first a couple times, I realized I could take that time and assign hotkeys to my keyboard. And just with the control and the number pad and alt and the number pad, I was able to create at least 30 hotkeys right then and there. And as soon as I realized I could create these hotkeys to use while playing music in between rounds with Counter-Strike, I was able to have 30, 40 scenes, each with something different to change in each scene. So each scene had probably 5 or 6 things that I could change within each one, and it was almost like an infinite tool belt that I could use. But just being able to have the downtime in Counter-Strike when you die a lot and you're first learning the game, there is so much downtime, and I exploited that, realizing I wouldn't want to watch somebody spectating my teammates in a silver Counter-Strike game. I took that dead air time and I warped it to my own, and really, I just had fun with it for the last 3 years. Like, I started streaming, in 2015 on this account, and, really, things didn't pick up until about 3 or 4 months ago. Um, honestly, I got rated by, Tim the TatMan, and I've been rated by other big names in the past, but, this one really kinda stuck, and, being hosted by a lot of other people at the same time that kind of saw the channel and finally got like a certain kind of audience. I've been able to actually grow the channel, and it's been a wonderful ride. It took 3 years to get 100,000 views on Twitch, and I believe within the last 2 months we are over 250,000 views on the channel, which is something that took me 3 years to do in 2 months. It certainly helped, but honestly, it was completely random. Streaming under the, yeah, I believe just streaming under the channel, or under the community, TatMan Army, which I've been a part of for a little while. Um, just clicked on my name. Like, I wish it was like a quality nod, but I guess the nod was more from the community and not necessarily Tim himself. And it kinda just, like things kinda just, like, snowballed where it wasn't just the TatMan Army, which is the name of his community, sticking around. It was just even just with the way Twitch ranks everything, it's based off viewers. So just being able to have people come in, some new faces that were able to come even not from the raid, I was able to get noticed by people that might not have ever been able to see the channel because the viewer number was a lot lower than it was when I got hosted. And from then on, some of those faces stuck. Some of those faces were able to benefit the channel. And it's just one of those things where it might not have been the catalyst, but it certainly didn't hinder the progress of the stream. The stream's still growing. I'm very content with it. And it's been crazy the last couple months, just the opportunities that have opened, whether it be Twitch partnership or just being able to have my face plastered on more screens. It's been a wild ride to have everything kind of blow up within 3 years and not expecting to become a Twitch partner. Just streaming for fun, streaming as a hobby, and just wanting to stream and put on the best show I can put on. And it's crazy that we're at the point that we're at now. In terms of growth and things like that, what it really does is it validates a community and an existence on Twitch that you've already built. When it comes to Twitch partnership, a lot of people say, some people would quote Dr. Disrespect. I don't necessarily know the full quote. It's something about we're at the top of the mountain, but we haven't reached the top yet. You know, this is just the beginning of another journey. This is something that's been nice is, I guess, with Twitch partnership, we're extended partnership with the game in alpha right now called Splitgate Arena Warfare. So one of my recent streams, we were able to give away keys. I might be like immortalized in the game, things like that, which would be really cool. Now I can go through my email and I can kind of like run through like sponsorship requests and stuff like that, but I just stream to have fun, and like it opened up a lot of doors, but it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to step through them all. But it just validated everything that we've already had, and whether I take advantage of it or not, it's up to me. And it's not really a crazy amount different. You just got to keep pushing like you were before you were partner, because this is not the end all be all. This is just another start, another part in the journey. With Twitch partnership, it hasn't really changed a crazy amount of the financials, except for the fact that since I've been partnered, we tripled the sub count, which is crazy. I guess a lot of people want to see nice quality emotes, and it's been crazy. With the financial side of Twitch, it's been a weird journey because I always wanted to be, a Twitch partner. I always wanted to make it on Twitch, quote unquote. I've always had kind of like a smaller, very close-knit community. And like even I used to be full-time. I've I've been at the point in my life where like I left a job that I was making a lot of money at because I wanted to pursue the dream of playing video games, being a Twitch partner, being good at what I do, being a broadcaster, a content creator, however you want to call it. Um, and I saved up some money, went on a hiatus, and I lived off Twitch for probably 1.5, 2 years, I would have to say. Um, and there's a whole other side to that. Being able to sustain a living on Twitch is awesome, but it has its downside at the same time. Having an average viewership, it was probably 30, 40 back then. It kind of felt like to me that like imagine standing in a room with all your closest friends and they're physically handing you money to pay your rent. It kind of felt like I was like a charity case kind of thing. And that's just something that like really wore heavily on me. So I like recently just making a bunch of changes in my life, um, like working full time and streaming part time. I found success in just my mentality and the way that streams were happening, which I could also say could be another catalyst in like the stream's growth is I just strictly stream for fun. There's no stress. There's no goals like I used to have. Being a Twitch partner now, I'm not chasing numbers. But there's been a direct side effect of like the streams growing. And all the money that I've used from streaming is going straight back into the stream, buying equipment to like remodel a stream room, to go to events like TwitchCon and things like that. And it's been a wild ride, but financially things have gotten a lot better with streaming. But before, when I had to literally live off streaming, it was mentally draining. It's just to have all your closest friends pay your bills, but nothing was ever guaranteed. So it's like you don't want your friends to give you money, but in the back of your mind you're like, I really need this money. And it was terrible for me mentally. And I'll never be able to like not say thank you for that because that was like a huge part of my life. But now I feel like I always kind of like work on the side to keep my mind going steady, and then whatever happens with the stream happens with the stream. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool. That's something that I took into fruition about a year ago. About a year ago, I was also contracting and doing full-time contracting. But then when I saw the tweet that you guys were looking for somebody, I had to jump on that. I've always wanted to be a part of a social media team. I've always not wanted to necessarily work with my hands and do manual labor all day. But the last 4 or 5 months leading up to partnership, I was working about 70 hours a week, contracting and working for OPC and streaming another 30 to 40 hours on top of that, chasing this partnership. And it was definitely a hustle. About 4 hours of sleep a night. It was ridiculous. But it's all been worth it. I'm no longer contracting. I get to hang out with a great group of people all day when I'm working with OPC, and I get to play games at night and stream and have a good time. It's something that I realized was just like everybody in my stream is working hard for the money that they were donating or subscribing with. I needed to work hard to pay my bills, and that's always going to be something separate. Is always have a job that can pay my bills, and then all the fun stuff can go straight back into the stream to provide the best content I can, because I feel like the money that people give to the streamers should go back into the stream. Whether that be, if you're a big streamer and putting on some quality content means paying your bills and eating, yes, that is awesome. Not that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but like I just felt that like I wanted to work hard, really hard for my money, and make sure that every dollar and every bit and every sub point that I ever had went back into the stream. I tallied up all the money I ever made in the past 3 years streaming, and I took all that money from working 70 hours a week, and I dumped it all back into the stream. And it's very like, it was a weird feeling being like, that's a lot of money to spend on playing video games. But when I have the mentality now of just like, I just always want to be better, that's one thing I had to do, just internally, and I'm very content with that choice. Those people have always been there, I guess, and it's awesome to see that those people remain to be there, whether we have a bunch of people in chat or very little. Because with like streaming a couple different games here and there, there's amazing fluctuation in the amount of people that are there. But the community, they, for whatever reason, were rooting for me the entire time. And I can't say anything but thank you to the community that's been there. And that's why I stream, is like some of these people, I talk with them longer than I've talked with some of my best friends in my life. I've had people that have spent 1,700 hours watching my face. And these are some of the best friends because they know everything about me, and it's crazy. It's such a weird feeling, but that community hasn't fallen off. It's just like they were really excited. They were really hyped. They were so excited that things were kind of working the way that they felt I deserved, whether I did or whether I felt that way or not. It's been crazy. The community's been backing everything the entire time. I think it would be very easy to go through my stream and watch how many times I blame me dying in a round of Counter-Strike to reading chat. It is very easy. Although I love the chat, I love the people in it, they're the first thing I blame. When it comes to my gameplay, it's yeah. Just like, you killed me. Basically is but I always put the people first. I wouldn't be streaming if the people weren't there. I'd be a YouTuber. If I want to be on Twitch, I feel like I need to interact with people that are there. Other than that, I would just be editing clips and putting them on YouTube, and that's not why I'm on Twitch. I'm there for the people, and you know, if I happen to play a certain game because they want me to, or if I happen to lose a lot, I'm completely fine with that. That's just how I've been when it comes to Twitch chat. It's the names that like I really get attached to. It's not the numbers, and it's always been that way. And I'm sure I'd be a lot better at video games by now if I didn't just like sit there and read lines of text, just like scrolling, I guess. But that's how it's been. I think when it would come to like so many people have asked to watch me build my room. The only thing that I streamed when it came to that room was tearing down the walls and ripping down the ceiling. When it comes to actually putting together a room, because of the fact that I cannot focus on the task at hand, whether it's playing the video game or whether it's making sure that framing a ceiling is perfectly level and that I'm not falling off a ladder. Knowing the way I am, if I have a TV with chat right there, I'm going to look at chat, respond, and fall off a ladder. Or the ceiling's going to be messed up, or it's going to take me 9 months to finish it. That's like, if I need to actually complete a task, I'm not doing it if I'm live. There's no way. It just wouldn't happen. Being addicted to video games, probably would be it. Also, just something I've always done. I'm not the best at any one thing, but I try to be good at everything I do. Hello, fly. But realistically, everything that I do, I try to be really good at it. And if I feel like I'm not good at it, I'm gonna spend a lot of time like just working my butt off to learn how to do it very well. I don't care about being the best, but if I'm gonna try to do something, I'm gonna do it very well until I'm satisfied. Something with a Twitch stream, you can never be fully done with it. So I'm never gonna be like fully satisfied. I'm always gonna be looking for the next best thing. But this mentality is always carried from me when I used to silkscreen and print and design t-shirts when I was in high school, or print buttons, or any job that I've ever had. I always try to like best myself over time. I don't like feeling stagnant. I don't like feeling like I'm not progressing. I don't like feeling like things aren't moving up. I always want to learn something new, is basically what it comes down to. Whether it was printing the t-shirts and buying my first car with it, whether it was rebuilding the motor after I blew it up, or everything that I've done is always about learn how to do it right. Don't be the best at it. And that mentality carried through streaming, just because I watch my VODs. I make sure that, hey, this could have been better. And I try to implement that in the next stream or the next video I create, or just anything I do. Just there needs to be a level of progression, and there needs to be some kind of redeeming growth. It doesn't have to be streaming. It could be playing guitar, playing drums, stuff like anything I've ever done. I've always just wanted to see growth. The one thing I always do, a lot of people ask, a lot of people feel like a channel my size is really approachable to ask. So I always tell them, have fun with what you're doing. If you can't have fun, how are you expecting somebody else to have fun in your stream? If you can't be the best and you know you're not the best, provide something different. And by different, it could be any number of things. There are so many unique identities on Twitch, and although there's saturation, there's a lot of people doing something differently. Even though at the core of it, everybody's just playing video games. But the number one thing that I've highlighted even during this is watch your content. A lot of people are just, they're fishing. They're throwing out their content and they're hoping to reel people in, but they have no bait on their hook. They don't actually like watch to see if they put any bait on their hook. They don't watch to see if their content's any good. A lot of people, they just stream. They want to be like Lyric. They don't use a webcam. They don't use overlays. They don't understand that on Twitch, you have about 5 seconds to capture someone's entire identity. Like a viewer clicks on your stream and you have 5 seconds to gain their attention before they go to the next one. So that's why I watch my VODs is if you go and you click through your VOD, if you go and click through your YouTube video and there's 10 seconds of dead space, there's 10 seconds of something that can't catch somebody's attention, you lose probably 95% of any possibility of people being retained. So watch your VODs, critique your own content, ask somebody to critique it for you. But the number one tip is if somebody's critiquing your content, sit next to them and watch it with you, because you're going to be nervous that somebody else is watching right next to you. Whether they're honest or not, you'll pick up on things based on you being nervous and trying to like come up with answers that you think they're going to ask. You're going to come up with answers to questions that they might not even ask, but we're all our own biggest critic. So watch your content, and it's always about just like using your time effectively. Don't stream for 12 hours on your first stream. Stream for an hour, see how it goes, watch it, see what changes you can make, rinse and repeat. It's quality over quantity, 100% when it comes to streaming. Something that's not able to be measured when it comes to streaming. I mean, my favorite thing has been partnership with Twitch. But realistically, I think something that's not being able to be measured is communities that I've helped just with their own level of confidence in their streams. Because having confidence to stream is huge. It takes a lot to be able to just go live, stream, be happy. So just like making people feel confident by having my direct messages open on Discord, Twitter, and having people ask me questions all day, it's been incredibly amazing to just see where like channels started and where they're at now, just by tips and tricks and just ways to increase the production quality is my favorite thing. to go, I used to hate watching this stream personally, to going and like, that's where I hang out now because I can enjoy watching it because I might have told them how to do this or that, or to help them like with their own ideas and like foster things they can be proud of. Because confidence is, again, a huge thing on Twitch. And for a streamer to be proud of what they're doing and to help people be proud of what they're doing is my favorite accomplishment on Twitch. That's something I'm very, very, very hard on. I love helping people grow. Definitely. I've had people, I mean, with Twitch, there's a lot when it comes to trying to help a lot of people and then maybe not being the smartest when you let like certain people move in with you. I've had experiences where I've let like other streamers move in, didn't work out. Or other things like when it really didn't work out and when I realized like holistically that like this cannot be my full-time gig for that bit of my time on Twitch. There was the time when they added affiliation and bits, and I was scraping by off like donations and things like that for the channel. It slapped me in the face at the moment when like I had to wait 60 days for a payout in bits. Everybody was really excited about bits. I wasn't able to pay my internet bill. I wasn't able to pay my rent. And that was like the hardest part streaming, was realizing that like you need to worry about your priorities and not worry so much about putting on this show and putting on this show that everything's fine in front of people. And so just that moment when like you can't pay your bills, you can't pay rent, and now you can't even stream anymore. That's a moment where I had to look hard and be like, do I really need to be this full-time streamer? Do I really need to just be an adult? And that's when I started contracting. Is although like somebody was able to like they pulled together and they paid the rent, and they paid the internet and everything like that. But like I was like, that's not their job. And so I went and got my own job. So that was a weird moment. Or sometimes putting streaming in front of relationships that I've had. Something I don't do anymore. Forgetting to take time for yourself is extremely toxic to yourself. It's don't forget about yourself. Everybody's always trying to be live, but they forget that like you should have a social life. You should have real friends. You should have time to yourself. It's something like I stream every other day now. I have time for myself. I worked my butt off to get to where I'm at, and just going over that quality over quantity. I don't need to be streaming 7 days a week. So I take time to myself to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. I'm not putting relationships behind streaming, because I've lost relationships that way with friends, with girlfriends, things like that. That's streaming. Just a lot of interesting things happen over the 3 years. Yeah, those are two that take the cake. Letting someone move in from Twitch, that's a no. Unless you like 100% know that they're the cleanest person you ever know. And then just like, oh man, just I woke up one morning and there was someone else's facial hair in my own personal bathroom. No. No. That was when you realize that that person is an amazing person and one of the nicest people I've ever met. But you can't live with everybody. You can't do that. My favorite peripheral? Oh man, I have so many of them. Honestly, there's been I'm gonna say three of them. I love the Stream Deck. I love the Stream Deck. I honestly like having the chair from OPC just helped a lot. Because like I said, I was contracting. I was breaking my back in the morning. I was sitting in an IKEA chair all day. my back could not handle streaming for 6 hours after I got off my shift with OPC, and like just being able to have one helped a lot. And honestly, this new mouse, so Stream Deck, the OPC, and then the mouse that I have, this one is the Naga Trinity. Depending on what game I have, I can pick as many buttons as I want on the side of the mouse. So it helps with hotkeys, and it helps with like everything I do in the games, whether it's Fortnite and building. Those are my 3 favorite. Everything else, I don't need. Those things were like game changing right there. All 3 of those things. So the Stream Deck, basically, it has one feature that I love is the clip button. You don't have to have your browser open. You don't have to have anything open. It's got a button to clip the last 30 seconds. So you don't have to be the annoying streamer yelling, clip that, clip that. I hate watching a clip. And I'm like, wow, this would be so cool, but they just yelled, clip that. And it's annoying. So being able to do that yourself, and even yeah, and just even to use it as a marker so you can go back and clip it yourself, so you don't look like the guy who's screaming at people to clip that. But I have over 300 hotkeys set with it right now, with like 7 or 8 different starting folders and then different subfolders in each one. I have about, it was like 80 scenes with like different subsources and groups in OBS. So to manage that without lifting like more than a finger is amazing. I didn't think it would be that game changing in any way, shape, or form, but $150, I was like, take my money. You can have it. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be I'm thankful for you guys to put me on the podcast. I'm happy to be a part of the team, and I just want to say, everybody, if anybody's listening to this point right now, just thank you for giving us your time, honestly, because time's very important, and we appreciate it. Realistically, I don't really have a stream schedule, but if you ever find me, just know I will say hi to you, and I'll welcome you to the community as everybody else. As I like to say, thanks for being a part of my life and ours, because it's really awesome just to have everybody being a part of this big community of gaming, which I love. So I say thank you a lot, and I'll say thank you again. Thank you.